In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to make a pop ballad. And to do that, I remade a song that I really like right now called Narcissist by Avery Anna. And I'll break down my remake of the song's elements, the sounds of those elements, the mixing, the structure and arrangement, all that jazz. So hopefully by the end of this tutorial, you can make a song in a similar pop ballad style to this one. Set the tempo around 73 BPM. Start off by making some simple piano chords. These are just very simple chords in a very simple progression like this. It's these chords right here with the root notes of the chords like this, and then just copy and pasted to make another octave down here as well. Just for some extra layering to make the chords sound more full in the mix. I used two flex presets to accomplish the piano sound. I used a closed grand preset, and I used this piano preset from Flex as well. So aim for some very simple acoustic sounding pianos. It doesn't have to be too realistic because we're going to combine it with some other sounds in the mix. And the only mixing that I put on here is this EQ that takes out a great chunk of the lows because we're going to have a very prominent bass line rolling through this, and we don't want the lows of the piano to counteract and make that sound muddy in the mix with the other bass line that we're going to make later. Next, take the same chords and put them into some strings. I use this cello sustain preset from Flex, and for mixing I have the same EQ for the same reasons from earlier, and this Fruity Blood overdrive to really amplify these strings and make them sound as full as they possibly can in the mix. We're gonna make this thing sound really emotional, so we really want these strings to stand out. Next, take the bass notes from the chords and put them into some bass presets, and by bass notes I just mean like the root notes that we have earlier. So for example, if this is an F sharp chord, you're going to have an F sharp for the root note, and then if you're going to have a G sharp chord, you're going to have a G sharp for the root note. So just follow like that for the types of chords that they are, and then put them into some bass presets sounding something along the lines of this. Almost like an EDM respace type scenario, but with a lot of low end support as well. I use two Vital presets from MHA's Vital Sound Banks to accomplish this sound. I use this preset from MHA's Vital Sound Bank Volume 3, and this one from the same sound bank as well. So this one is just a sub bass for some low end support, and then this one is that higher end respace that has a lot of that texture. So combining it with a sub bass, like a simple sub bass like this, will help fill in those lower ends that aren't really as present with that bass. And then for mixing, all I did is I put on this Fruity Blood overdrive to really amplify the essence of the bass and really pack that punch with that sound as well. Now for the drums and effects, this is probably the most simple drums that you're ever gonna have in a song, besides having no drums, of course. It's just a standard kick going throughout the entire thing. Now it sounds really crappy and distorted on its own, but when it's with everything else in the mix, it's really gonna sound alright, trust me. Because I have this filter on it. If you take this filter off, it just sounds like a standard punchy kick with some high end on it, but this filter that I have on it helps to make it, that high end, sound a little more muffled. And I also have the amp on here just to make it stand out a little more in the mix. But the main purpose of this filter is just to make the kick sound a little more muffled in the mix. It's punchy in nature, but to filter it down and tone it down a little bit, it helps to create kind of a softer feel, like when it's combined with everything else in the mix. And then just for some extra added effects, I have this guitar loop from the original song. Just add some extra twangy guitars in the background that help to fill up the mix a little more. You can either play the guitar yourself like this, or you can find some samples online, whether it's from Splice, which is paid for, or Looperman, which is completely free, or other websites out there. I'm sure there's plenty, but those are two that I recommend a lot for samples like this. And the only thing I put on that guitar thing right here is this EQ, which takes out a lot of the lows for the same reasons from earlier, but also boosts a lot of the high end as well, to really get that higher end essence of the guitars to really cut through the mix and stand out more other than like the rest of the frequencies over here. It really helps to fill up this part of the background of the mix in particular. Now for the structure and arrangement of this track. For the structure and arrangement, I really only focused on the chorus of this song, but for everything else, it's pretty simple. All you really need to do is just have the piano here, and then like the vocals are just going to be over here, and you could really experiment with the lyrics and stuff and the vocal melodies, and just have the piano instrumentally playing in the background. But for the chorus itself, you just want everything playing all together. You have the piano, the strings, the bass, the extra guitars if needed, and the kick down here as well. And then that's for any verses or pre-chorus where you have that extra piano like this, or whatever, but that could also be for any outros or anything like that, or bridges. To break it down, it's just very simple instrumentation, and you really can get crafty with the lyrics and vocal melodies and stuff. So here's the final structure of the chorus and what it looks like right here. And after all that, here's the final result.
You say that I'm crazy, you say that you're sorry, you